Here to discuss the AI data center further, Nancy Tengler, Laffer Tengler investment CEO, who says, quote, "It's about the power, stupid." Okay, hit me with that thesis.
Oh, Ed, you always find the right nugget to pull out. Yeah, well, I mean, look, there's expected to be, OpenAI has said they need 20 gigawatts of power. At 16 billion per 2 gigawatts, that's a fair amount of change. And then you have all of these, just using Texas as an example, you have all of these companies opening data centers in Texas. It's kind of the perfect place. Horizon is the only one that comes with its own power source, which is natural gas on the Mitchell family Longfellow ranch. And so that's great news, but a lot of power is going to be needed for the rest. And Texas already has a grid problem. So we are looking at Laffer Tengler at names that can solve some of the data center problems and some of the grid problems that are coming with this major build out. And photonics is a hope. It's not yet, we're not yet there in reducing power consumption. And build outs are critical. What we heard from Oracle recently from the co-CEOs was that, it's not about demand, it's about supply. They can't get these data centers built fast enough.
Let's go to the promise of photonics, because you're already looking at a particular company, Cohere. Remind us of what the thesis is there, Nancy, and how quickly you think it can become a reality.
Yeah, so that's the question, Caroline. I mean, Coherent is, really focused on building photonics around the quantum computing needs, which is just going to add another layer onto this whole power question. And so what we've done, we've launched a new strategy called Macro Cycle Opportunities, and we have 4 themes: space, robotics, quantum, and nuclear. And in that, we are trying to identify the companies that are going to drive the next wave of transformation, overlaid with AI, because it's essential to many of those themes, or most of those themes. So Coherent's one. One of the other names that is important to us is not a photonics name, but is Quanta Services. We own that in our 12 best. We own it in Macro Cycle, and we own it in our growth portfolio. They've got a $36 billion backlog in modernizing existing grids or power providers.
Nancy, you're doing what so much of the market is having to do right now, which is have a lot of hope baked into these forward-looking, not only promises of the actual returns on investment in AI, but promise of photonics, promise of quantum. What is the fundamental research you bring to bear to be like, these are good bets?
Well, so what we've done, and I didn't answer your question on timing. I don't know, Caroline. I mean, it could be, the expectation is it could be a decade, but we've seen things accelerate so quickly. And the Exelon CEO at AI World yesterday said we're going to see more transformation in the next 10 years than the last 100. But what we've done in constructing the portfolio is we've established leaders, and they are about 40 to 50% of the portfolio. So thinking quantum, IBM, which is a pretty low risk business model, and then the enablers, which is a Coherent, and then the speculative names, and that would be IonQ, Rigetti, all of those names. So the objective is, and that's 10 to 15 to 20%, and the enablers are 20 to 25. So we're trying to mitigate risk by build positions in existing technologies that are already producing earnings, and then couple that with names that are speculative.
Right. Nancy, we started this conversation about the news of Meta's latest or 29th data center, a gigawatt in Texas. You have the small, if my Bloomberg terminal data is correct, position in Meta, but they are not a hyperscaler, right? So how do you view that build out that they're doing and the attractiveness in the broader thesis you've just outlined to us?
Well, so we do own a very small bit, Ed, but if you recall, we've talked about this in the past where we sold the majority of our holdings because we felt like the business model, and we were wrong, by the way, we felt like the business model of advertising was not where we wanted to be, and then they pivoted to AI, and I think that's what's driving these investments, and they've been pretty successul at attracting a number of high-level executives from many companies, but in particular Apple. So I think that for us is, we pivoted to Spotify I think we actually did better with Spotify, but the point is that we missed the Meta run. And I think the question now is, can they convert it to revenues? And I think that's going to be the challenge. However, Mark Mahaney just published a piece that shows EBIT per employee and revenue per employee at Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google is up massively, and that goes to the bottom line. So I think the jury's still out on how they're going to monetize all of this, but we'll see. I mean, they're making the investments in people and in CapEx.
Right.
So.
Nancy, just very, very quick, is Elon's pay package going to get voted through?
I think so. I hope so. I like to be aligned with the CEO as a shareholder.